Keys. Good afternoon and welcome to another exciting episode of Super Sunday. Welcome, Swati. Would you please confirm that you can hear me clearly and see me clearly? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for that confirmation. It's almost 5 months since we've started the Super Sunday series. And in these 5 months, we meet every Sunday, 2 p.m. on this very platform. I have been exchanging quite a bit of information, insights on how about marketing, business strategies, how to of the business, anything that's related to new business owners, those people who want to get into business, something for each one of you on a regular basis. One of the most important pillars of business, as you know, is finance, is the money. Each one of us does business for a reason. Yes, we have a wider need for the business to help others, to support others, but it boils down to one primary thing, and that is making profits. Every business, when started, starts with a purpose, but the underlying aspect still remains the same: to make profit. Why do we make that profit? For many reasons. Maybe for me, it is to put bread and butter on the table. For some, it might be to make a sustainable business. For some, it might be to make that in much enough of a profit so that they can scale and grow their business. Right? Everybody has a reason to make that business profitable, whatever the reason might be. But whatever expense you put in, they expect a return on investment over it. But we come across many business owners who have this scare, fear of finance. They are good in operations, they're good in marketing, they are good in sales, they're good at many things. But when we start talking about finance, that's where they start facing challenges. And those challenges come in many of forms. So let's look at what exactly should be the mindset of a business owner in terms of finances or the financial aspect of business. Whatever you transact in business, it is against a remuneration that needs to be transacted. Maybe I have a product, I give you the product, you pay me for it. Maybe it's a service, I offer you a service, the client pays me for my service. But what is the value of the product or service? That is decided by your pricing strategy. Usually or traditionally, it's all about all the expenses plus the profit, which gives you the sales price, isn't it? So you have all the expenses plus the profit margin put in, and then you sell it accordingly. You tweak it with different combinations, with different factors, and that's when you think, okay, I can have a basic cost, I can have a premium cost, I can have a promotional cost. Those are the pricing strategies you use. But many a times what happens is, especially with services, business owners do not understand how to price their service. They are a little confused, doubtful. Have I priced my product or service right? Is it competitive enough to be in the market? Is it price competitive? I would rather use that word, price competitive, to be in that market so that people choose me over others. So pricing strategy becomes an important aspect, and that's when I think a few weeks ago we had spoken about pricing strategies. Business owners need to take into consideration what kind of strategy is conducive for their business, which is the right one, which can take them to the next level, which can give them a profit margin, a better profit margin, which can give them a premier or a leverage or a traction over their competitors. So pricing strategy is one of the important aspects when thinking about finances in a company. When you talk about company revenues, the turnover, it's how much of money you get into the company. And just not get, but get by selling your product or service. So this is the first challenge business owners face, and specifically if you are a single business owner where you make all the decisions, you have to be very, very sure of how, where, when you place your product or service into the pricing grid. The second challenge is, of course, how to make the profits. Traditionally, profits are sales minus expense is equal to profit. There is a concept called profit first. It just tweaks a bit of the traditional formula of how do you calculate profit. Traditionally, profit is calculated by sales minus the expenses, and what remains is the profit. In the profit first method, you actually flip the formula. In the sales itself, you decide on many of factors wherein you decide what your profit margin is going to be. So for example, if I have something that's priced at 100 dirhams and I want to make around 50 dirhams on it, so my sales price would ideally be 150 and not 100. And whatever remains out of the sales minus profit is what I would use it for my expense. So what happens is you have a limited expense, so you know how much of expense you have in hand, and that's the only funds that you have or are limited to use to create your product or service. It's a little difficult to understand at first because we are so ingrained with the traditional formulas that trying to use the profit first method sometimes puts off business owners. But if you give it a little thought and fine tune as to how you calculate your profit, then surely you will understand that in the sales parameter itself, you try to push in your profit as to how much you need to run your business, then you surely are going to create a profit center for your business, wherein you never have to think where your next paycheck is going to come from or where you're going to get money for the next expense. It's already inbuilt into the sales parameter. The third aspect is, of course, when you have transacted business, is a recovery. We give credits to clients. We give a lot of discounts. How do these parameters affect our revenue generation? That is one aspect that we need to look at very, very, very finely. I think you need to put it through a scanner, because the recovery takes a lot more time money, people, resource to recover what you already have in the market. You can actually put strategies in place where you say, okay, I don't give credit to anybody, I want advance payments. You can make sure that you have system strategies in place wherein you say, okay, 50% now, 50% on delivery. And if you do not give me the 50% at this particular time line, then I might charge you an interest. Recovery is another huge problem faced by every business person. If you have dedicated people to follow up recoveries, to follow up the payments, then it works fine. But if you're a single owner, what happens? And then there is that one thing about discounts. Okay, I know Anupama very well. Her service is costing around 100 dirhams. Because she knows me, she'll give me a discount. Yeah, but Anupama and Anupama's business are two different things. Anupama can give you a discount, but Anupama's business might not. And if I do give discounts, that means I'm expecting the payout to be much sooner than later. Because the more time it takes to recover the money from the clients, from the customers, that means it adds stress, pressure on your cash flows. Sometimes I've met coaches who tell me that, yeah, I gave something and I've not been paid. Services do have this kind of a big issue when it comes to payments. People don't pay you. People don't think you're worth that much to be paid immediately. There's so many factors, so many reasons. And if you don't have the right mindset, then it becomes a huge problem. It becomes a huge problem for your cash flow. The fourth aspect, of course, is the cash flow itself. Just imagine a situation where you do not have a cash flow grid in front of you. What is cash flow in the first place? Cash flow is just trying to understand what are your forthcoming expenses and how much of money is going to come into the business in the next few months, in the immediate future, so that you can plan your expenses accordingly. Some expenses are fixed, like you have to pay the salaries, you have to pay your telephone and internet bill, you have to pay your Diva bill, you have to pay your trade license fee and your rent. You can't do away with it. And they have to be paid at specific timelines. You can't say, okay, today I don't have money, I'm not going to pay it, I'll pay it after 6 months. Doesn't happen. Those have to be paid. So if you have your cash flow in place, you know how much you need to make. And cash flow statements are one of the biggest assets that any business entrepreneur, business owner can have, because they have a fair idea how much they're going to spend in the coming months and how much they're going to earn in the coming months. And if they're falling short of the expense that they're going to have in the future, they can actually build up campaigns, look for more clients, tweak their pricing module, tweak their business model if need be, and make sure that they generate enough income to sustain for the future. Many a times I have looked at cash flow statements wherein they say, okay, this is my expense, I know what it is, but they have not made any provision for crisis. If there is some immediate cash requirement or an expense they have never thought of, have they made enough arrangement within the cash flow statement for it? A lot of us do not do so. Always make sure you have at least 10 to 15% of a reserve arrangement of cash in your cash flow statement. It's very, very important. And this can only come when you have everything in black and white on your paper. And if you can have that, then it becomes easier for to know even what payments need to come. If they don't come up, what follow-up you need to make. If you do not make that follow-up, how it would impact your cash flows. Because every time that we meet entrepreneurs, business owners, and especially single business owners, the biggest problems that they face in terms of revenue generation, in terms of making their business sustainable, one is pricing, second is recovery, and third is not a proper cash flow statement in place. These are three main things, and if you have a good command over these three things, then your business surely should not face any problem and would sustain itself for a longer time. Even in the worst of the crisis, it would sustain in the longer time. Now, to have these three aspects as your strength of pricing, recovery, and cash flow, what you need is an open mindset. You need an open mindset. Open mindset in the sense of how you look at your finance. Finance is one of the most important pillars of business. If you have money, you have a business. You can pay utilities, you can pay your employees, you can pay yourself, and you can sustain that business for a longer time. So finance is an important aspect. You can't do away with it. And if you can't do away with such a thing, if it's such imperative for your business, it's so imperative for your business, then you have to have that kind of mindset. Successful entrepreneurs make sure that they know their numbers very well. And when I mean the numbers, the calculations that come for pricing, the calculation that come up for recovery, you need to know how much of credit you can give to your suppliers, to your vendors, to your clients. You need to know how the cash is going to come into the business and go out. You need to know how far you can use the limited resources that you have. Third is, of course, if you know all this and if you can put them in black and white, then there's for you the entire numbers in place. And then drafting your P&Ls and drafting your balance sheets isn't going to be any difficult. Because if these three things are in place, the rest will automatically fall in place. There are many times that I meet people, or myself as a matter of fact, have issues in the cash flow statement. I have too much of expenses and maybe that month I'm not generating enough of a revenue. And that comes because we do not understand what to sell, how to sell, when to sell. That is another of the biggest challenge that entrepreneurs come across. These are related to your sales ratios. Now, what are sales ratios? Let me give you a very simple and easy example. My expense for the month are 5,000. My income for the month I'm expecting is 4,000. Now I'm short or deficit of 1,000 already. How do I know? How do I put it in numbers that I need this 1,000, and how do I find which product or service, if I sell, is going to get me that 1,000? And that's where the sales ratios come into play. I might have different services. Now, for example, my company has about 8 different verticals. And the 8 different verticals generate enough of a business. But oh my God, not enough for this month. So which is the one I need to push more to make sure I get that deficit covered of 1,000 dirhams? That shortfall of 1000 needs to be covered, right? So that I can at least break even, forget about the profits. So in this scenario, we use sales ratios, we use our research in how the market is moving. We make sure that we understand the market trends to push a particular service and make sure that the amount of 1000 is covered. That can be covered by creating campaigns for one particular vertical. Maybe second option I have is to put together a bouquet and say, okay, I make campaigns for where I sell out 2 products with an overload of 1. So I'm giving 1 free product with it. Yeah, my sales strategy changes. Maybe my pitch changes. If I have a range of products and those range are between 100 dirhams, so I know I have to sell 100 dirhams worth of product. Or if I have a product that is 10 dirhams, okay, that means I have to sell 100 products of 10 dirhams. So which one should I sell? The one which is of 100 dirhams or which is of 10 dirhams? For that, I need to know the market, how the market is accepting both the products. So I need historical data. So it's kind of an interlink of many aspects for me to create that strategy and push it into the market to garner that 1000 dirhams. And this nowadays can be automated. I don't have to sit down and calculate what I can do and how I can do it. Use your Excel sheets to the best of your advantage. Make sure you put all your data points into an Excel sheet and see how they can make changes to your cash flow statement. This can be done. It's not difficult. The only thing that I'm giving to you right now is awareness. Be aware of what you can do, what you cannot. Be aware of how it's need to be done and what impact it is going to have on business. As I said, finance is one of the most important pillars of business. Whatever the reason for you to make that profit, make sure the challenges that you face, be it in terms of profit, be it in terms of pricing, be it in terms of recovery, or be it in times of your cash flow management. Your challenges can be overcome. It is not rocket science. You can turn around your business even in a crisis to make enough profit to sustain it over a long time. Those entrepreneurs, those business owners who have this mindset of looking at the finances from a different perspective, and as I said, a perspective of not only putting a right number but understanding its impact on the business, they create successful, sustainable businesses. Make it a habit to put your finances first. Make it a habit. Understand how the numbers, the sales revenue, the number of things that you sell, the pricing, all this affect your business, positive, negative. If you do not know, make sure you learn it. Learn it through courses, learn it through mentoring, learn it through coaching. And by the way, this is a new concept altogether. You can actually assess your financial mindset. A lot of psychometric tests are available to judge, to assess, evaluate your financial mindset. And if you have the right mindset, you can make those changes, positive changes in your business. Once I was told that asking for payments sounds very rude. I'm sorry, my friends, it's not. You or anybody else does business for profits. They have to pay their bills. They have to pay their employees. So do you, and so do they. So what is rightfully yours? You have all the right in the world to ask for that payment. To expect that when you deliver and offer a service or a product, you are paid for it. So never ever think that asking for payments, following up for payments is something rude or does not look good. Just the way you expect your payments, make sure that you pay your suppliers, your vendors also at the right time. If there are any problems, any issues, any concerns, make sure they're openly discussed and resolved. A good financial mindset is the cornerstone of a successful and sustainable business. With this, I request you all to join me next week, same time, same platform, for another episode of Super Sunday. And if you have any comments, you can put them in the comment box and I'll respond to those. If you want to add more information to what I have said today or any other episodes that I have done before, you're most welcome. You can put them in the comment box. You can send me a message and I'll make sure to respond to those. Make sure to fill your queries then and there. With this, I say goodbye for today. Have a fantastic day ahead and an absolute safe weekend till we meet next. Bye.